nonetheless, the Romans Men 24 Dynasty, and we are in the draft, and the Bears are on the clock, and they're going to go with Caleb Williams, which is probably not a surprise to anybody, at least anybody following the draft. Number 2, the Commanders are going with Drake May out of North Carolina. He's been pretty much the number 2 on the board up until like the smoke screen season, so I assume he's still going to be number 2 on draft day. That leaves Jaden Daniels for the Patriots. And the Giants have traded up for pick number 4 with the Arizona Cardinals, and they're going to take J.J. McCarthy. So with the 5th selection, the Chargers are going to take a wide receiver. Yeah, I guess I'm going to go with Neighbors because just for the chaos factor. That'll leave Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. And then the Titans are up. Let's see. I think the Titans are going with Joe Alt. Just gonna check my notes really quick. I'll pause it. Yeah, I was just making sure that the Titans are as bad at tackle as I thought they were. So they are gonna go with Joe Alt. That's gonna bring up the Falcons. This is kind of a tough choice because I know they've got a number of spots they could fill with this pick. I think the last time I tried to go through this draft, because I went through it like partially once, but then the mod for the player portraits stopped working, and then I thought they weren't gonna fix it, so I ended up like making a new draft class without portraits, and then they fixed it, so I had to go back and get this draft class working again. Alright, so the Falcons, they could go with like a nose tackle, they could go with a defensive end, or they could go with a wide receiver. That's a tough choice because we still have a Dunzier on the board. Latu's still on the board. Jared Verse is still on the board. At nose tackle, Byron Murphy's still on the board, but I don't think they're going nose tackle this early. I feel like, well, they kept Arthur Smith in this version. I don't really like that, but yeah, maybe, hold on. So the 7th selection, or the 8th, yeah, the 8th, by the Falcons will be Latu. Which leaves the Bears with a tough choice, because I'd like to go with Jared Verse, but I feel like, I don't know, I can't pass the Dunzier. I think there's so many good wide receivers in this draft. I'd like to pass him, but I think he's too good. It's going to be be a lot harder to fill a defensive end position, but oh well. Brings up a tough choice for the Jets because they could definitely go with a wide receiver here. There's Xavier Worthy, Brian Thomas Jr. They could take a shot on Leggett. Roman Wilson's got really good route running. Adane Mitchell, they say is really good, but apparently there's questions about his work ethic and does he give you his max effort every play. Keon Coleman is one of those big jump ball receivers, so he's those types of guys are hard to predict success for in the NFL because David Bell was a really good jump ball receiver too, and there's been a whole bunch of guys like that where they were really good at contested catches, but it just doesn't really make as big of an impact at the NFL level. I think for a variety of reasons. It's in part because some quarterbacks, they need to see separation to throw to that player, to that receiver. And the contested catch guys, they're not always the best at getting separation. They're not always the best at route running. So I guess that's the concern with Keon Coleman. Malachi Corley is undersized, kind of a slot. I would certainly think a slot receiver. Johnny Wilson, I've heard some really good things about. He's 6'6". He's huge for a receiver, and he's got some good traits. It's a very deep class, so I think the Falcons are probably safe to. Well, I don't know. I got to think about this for a minute. Because the other option for the Falcons, at least after free agency, as far as I can see, is they still need 2 starters at safety. So I was thinking about, this is the Jets, not the Falcons. Anyways, so yeah, there's not really a safety I'm looking at this high. I would say if they're going to go in that direction, they'd go with Cooper DeJean and just have him play safety or move somebody else to safety. But yeah, it's a little high for any of these receivers except for, Xavier Worthy just ran the fastest 40 ever. So, he's definitely worth a reach. And Brian Thomas is a good overall receiver. Probably who they would go with if forced to pick one here, I think. So I think I'm going to go with Brian Thomas. That at least fills a spot that they needed. So it's the Vikings now. This is a tough one because I think they're probably looking to get JJ McCarthy, but I had the Giants trade up for that selection, so I felt like they had a better trade package that they could offer the Cardinals than the Vikings could. At least I feel like if the Vikings wanted to, they could keep, they could either trade back into the bottom of the first round or somehow maybe wait till Penix falls to the second round. But I don't see them really needing to reach too early on a quarterback. Their other positions of need. Looks like yeah, this is the second time I've gone through this draft, so I'm not sure about my notes here. I think I went with a guard last time. roster again. Alright, after going through the roster, I'm kind of leaning towards a cornerback. I guess Nate Wiggins. He is probably the best in the draft. Although I've heard a lot of good things about Quinion Mitchell, I think it is. I think he's, what is he, Tulane or something? Some small school. But he had a really good combine. Yeah, Quinion Toledo. Let's see, what do I have for the Broncos? Well, they could definitely go with Bo Nix. They do have Stidham on roster. They could definitely go for a defensive end. Jared Verse is still out there. Defensive tackle would be good too. There's still Byron Murphy. Could technically go after, well, I guess a wide receiver or a cornerback. Yeah, actually their cornerback situation's not great at all. Yeah, I would say cornerback or defensive end, so I'm going to go with Quinion Mitchell. Okay, that brings up the Raiders. And the Raiders, I mean, I guess they could go after a quarterback, but I think they're okay with it. They've got the two mustaches, Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. So I think that leaves. So they'd need like a nose tackle, outside linebacker. Dallas Turner's still available. I'm gonna have a look. Doesn't fit their scheme, and neither does Edgerrin Cooper. They like a power rusher. He's a speed rusher. They're a 3-4, so I don't think a speed rusher is really a bad thing, and I could always move them to defensive end, where they're also needing another player. So yeah, maybe Dallas Turner does fit. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas Turner. Be a really good selection. I mean, he's high upside. Definitely a risky pick, though, especially since it's the Raiders. That brings up the Saints. Alright. The Saints. Let's see, they need an. Well, they could have used Dallas Turner. But yeah, it's gonna be probably a guard then. If not another. If they like Edgerrin Cooper, yeah, I think about it. Whoop, it's 14. He's a run stopper. They're a 4-3. I don't think they value the outside linebacker as much there. So I think, or at least not for that. Well, he is a run stopper. I think they're going to go with Fatuanu. Yeah, they're going to go with him. They could use a quarterback at some point, but I think it's going to be Michael Pratt later on. Who's got the pick? Oh, the Colts. Just going to have a look at the Colts roster. I want to see in particular if they have a defensive tackle. They are a 4-3 defense, so they need 2 of them. They do have 2. They could use, let's see. Yeah, I feel like they could use somebody on the line. I feel like Edgerrin Cooper would be a cool pick here for some reason. But I don't think they actually need him. Let me just double check. Yeah, they got Leonard. I'm gonna have a look at their cornerbacks. Yeah, they could use a cornerback for sure. Alright, so let's see who's on the board. I think it would have to be Terry and Arnold, if he fits their system, and he does. So yeah, they're gonna go with Terry and Arnold. That'll bring up the Seahawks. So I think there's a possibility that Tyler Lockett gets traded, because I think he's on the last year of his contract. But yeah, I'm not positive about that. I think the Seahawks are going to try to keep him, at least in this game. So they could go for Bowers here. That would be an interesting pick. I think it's Bowers. I don't think I really want to get a safety at this spot. Bowers would be cool, but I do think that's kind of a luxury pick. It's fun. Might as well go with it. So yeah, they're gonna get Bowers. That'll bring up Jacksonville. See what Jacksonville needs. So I have them needing a defensive end and a cornerback. But it looks like I picked somebody up in free agency at cornerback, so defensive end would make sense. And I think it's going to have to be Jared Verse, which is unfortunate because I wanted to draft into the Bears, but they'd have to trade back into the first. It's just not going to happen. It's too much draft capital. So Jared Verse to the Jaguars. Jared Verse is really interesting because he wasn't really a highly recruited player coming out of high school. He only had like one offer, and it was to like Albany or some small school. But during COVID, his dad built a gym for him, like a personal gym, and he completely changed himself and became a much better prospect. And I do think he's worthy of probably even a top 10 pick. I would have taken him at 9 if things were different with the Bears. So anyways, that brings up the Bengals. Bengals actually had a really good season because I didn't have Joe Burrow get an injury. But they're going to be looking at... Ooh, they really need a tight end. They could have definitely gotten Bowers. That's unfortunate. But they're definitely not going to be taking number 2, Jatavian Sanders. They need a middle linebacker. They need a replacement wide receiver. I think this might be a good spot for Xavier Worthy. Although that's a risky one. Yeah, I think they go with it. He's really fast. If nothing else, at least there's that. That'll bring up the Rams. I'm not really doing trades just because it would probably take me too long to think about it. I might throw one or two in. But anyways, the Rams need a wide receiver. Really needed defensive end. I think defensive end it would have to be Trice. Well, there's Austin Booker. Yeah, and then there's Trice. There's also moving Kobe Turner to defensive end and having Byron Murphy in the middle. They could also use a guard, it looks like. They've got a decent couple of starters and not much behind them. I think I'm going to go with Byron Murphy. I like the idea of having him and Kobe Turner on the same line. That'll bring up the Steelers. They've kind of got their insurance at quarterback, so they're not going to be looking at Bo Nix. I was thinking they might get rid of Deontay Johnson. Could kind of use another wide receiver, especially if they're going to trade Deontay. Other options are center. We're at 20, so I don't know. Maybe a nose tackle, because they have an expiring contract in the middle. But Byron Murphy did just go, so let's see. Tackle, they've got some decent options. So I'm thinking probably another wide receiver here, and legit. Well, I guess it really depends if they're keeping Deontay Johnson or not. Because if they do keep him, then I'm thinking Roman Wilson. If they don't keep him, then I'm thinking Adonai Mitchell. Let me just have another look at what they need. definitely thinking a wide receiver. Although they could definitely shore up their center position. Nah. Let's go with the wide receiver. Let's get... legit. Brings up the Dolphins. Well, let's see. Nose tackle? Yeah, they're a 3-4, so they could use a nose tackle. They need a starter at right tackle as well. Let me see. So let's have a look at the nose tackle depth, and then we'll have a look at Fashanu again. So it'd be Newton. I don't know. I think they're kind of an offensive-minded team. They also need a guard still, it looks like. Yeah, they definitely need a guard. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not really feeling any of the guards. I think Fatan, or, oh, that's right, because they were going to move Fuaga to guard, potentially. So he's power. What are we looking for in a guard? Agile. Let's see. So I think then I'm gonna go with Fashanu. That'll bring up the Eagles. And they need, looks like a wide receiver. Yeah, I definitely think wide receiver is their biggest position of need. So that probably ends up being Mitchell. That'll bring up the Texans. And they need, looks like a running back. I guess I'm going to go with a nose tackle because of positional value. Or actually a defensive tackle. They're 4-3. Let's see who they like here. They only like a power rusher. Huh. I think we're going to go with Newton. You can always move him to end if they need to. Brings up the Cowboys, who won the Super Bowl somehow. They need middle linebacker because Van Der Esch had to retire. They need a cornerback. They need a guard. They really need a guard. Let's see about guard. Yeah, again, I'm just not liking the guard options. I had heard Mims actually might go to the Steelers. But maybe this is a Mims spot, and then we move him to guard. country, Alabama. Although I could definitely see them taking Cooper to Gene just because it's the Cowboys, and that just seems like a thing they might do. Be Jeremiah Trotter if it was a middle linebacker. I just think it's too early for them. Unless there's like an outstanding one. So I think you're going to go with a cornerback, and they'll go with Kool-Aid. That'll bring up the Packers. The Packers are going to defer their pick to the Bears. They'll be looking at an outside linebacker or a safety here. Well, not a safety, probably an outside linebacker. They could also... Yeah, they could definitely use a center. They could go for Jackson Power Johnson. So it'd be Edgerrin Cooper, Chop Robinson. Yeah, they don't really like any of those. Well, they're not scheme fists, at least. Safety. Cameron Kitchens. Although there's an argument to be had that they would go for the Minnesota guy because they probably got better scouting on him. Yeah, we'll go with that. Brings up the Buccaneers. It's a very late pick for them. I guess I have them needing a guard the most. Yeah, they're gonna go for a guard. Which probably means taking Fuaga and moving him to guard. Or what's their center situation looking like? So they've got a really good center and a good backup. So yeah, maybe Fuaga. What did they don't... Why is it saying round 3 to 4? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're gonna take Fuaga. Brings the Cardinals back up. So I think they're gonna take Power Johnson. I guess it'd be that or a nose tackle. Actually, it'd be a defensive tackle there. They're a 4-3. Chris Jenkins is the top. Sweat's probably gonna fall quite a bit. I guess they go with Cooper. Brings up the Bills with the 28th pick. So I've got them needing a defensive tackle, a guard. Yeah. Might just take a tackle and move him to guard. Their center is also not great. They've got two guys that are just stopgaps, is what I have written. Let's see. So Guyton or Latham or Mims. I guess it's gonna be Guyton. He's 6'7". He's from Alabama, right? Can't be bad. Oklahoma, actually. So let's see. So he'll probably end up playing left guard. That'll bring up the Lions. Let's see. They're gonna need definitely gonna need something. Well, an outside linebacker or guard. And always a guard. Let's see. So I think that means it's Edger and Cooper. Ooh, they like Chop Robinson better. They are a 3-4, so yeah, the rusher kind of makes more sense. Let's go with Chris Broswell from Alabama. Brings up the Ravens. Oops. They need a guard and a defensive end, so I definitely think it's defensive end. Probably Trice. Yep. Niners. There have been some talk of Ayuk requesting a trade, but his agent says it's false. Not sure what that's about. Yeah, I do have them needing a wide receiver, so let's have a look at what's available. Yeah, I think they're going to go with Roman Wilson. And then it's pretty easy for me to choose who the Chiefs are going with. Yeah, they definitely go with Lad McConkey here. Nightmare for the league, really. bring up Washington. Washington needs a defensive end. They pretty much traded everybody in this sim because they lost their defensive tackle as well. They traded Chase Young, they traded Montez Sweat, and they traded whoever the defensive De'Aaron Payne, I think. So anyways, they are going to be looking at let's see, maybe a cornerback. Could be Kalen King. Outside linebacker is also a position of need. Yeah, let's go with Edrin Cooper. That'll at least fill one spot. That'll bring up the Saints. So it's definitely a decent time to go for Bo Nix, I feel like. Because they've only got Carr on roster. So, yeah, this seems like a good Bo Nix spot. I think now is, well, let me look at what the Commanders need, and then I'll make a decision. But this might be a trade to the Vikings, if I can make trades, even. I'm not really sure, actually. Yeah, they took a left outside linebacker last. Still need a defensive end. I think they're just going to go with Austin Booker, despite it not being ideal. Probably going to need another end. That'll bring up the Rams. Could use a slot, so maybe Malachi Corley. Yeah, I'm fine with that selection. Brings the Bengals back up. And they were again needing a tight end, I believe. So that would be Jatavian Sanders, and it's the second round, so I'm kind of okay with it. I don't think he's going to be bad, but the drop-off from Bowers to Sanders is pretty big, I think. Although I'm really interested to see how Dallin Holker does as well. He was pretty interesting at the Combine. Let me just double-check. Yeah, they do need a tight end. So they're going Jatavian Sanders. maybe even use another tight end later. Brings the Commanders back up. I feel like this is a trade down with the Vikings, or let's see. So it'd be the second 38th overall pick, that is, for the Vikings, 46th, and I'm gonna have to consult a trade chart really quick. Okay, so it's gonna be the 38th for the 46th, and the 105th, the 4th round pick for the Vikings. And the Vikings are gonna take, well, I'm definitely thinking it's Michael Penix. Although they're already starting Darnold, and I don't think that's a bad, I think that's a good gamble if you're going to take one. Because I think Darnold, after spending some time with Shanahan, should have more experience and hopefully won't be seeing ghosts next time. That brings up the Cardinals. Could be another trade down. I would say to the Chargers. Because the Chargers are going to want to get Blake Corum, they're going to want to get Chris Jenkins, they're going to want to get all their Jim Harbaugh guys, even though I didn't put him in the game because it's just too much work to edit all the coaches. Let me just check the Arizona needs. They still have a pretty big need at defensive tackle. And center. Actually, their center is awful. I think they're going to go for Powers Johnson. And that's going to be a great starter for them. Then the Titans are up. They could go for a running back, really. I mean, they've got Tony Pollard and Ty J. Spears, but somebody else might be nice to have. They're going to go with a wide receiver, though. Although I forgot, I did give them back DeAndre Hopkins, so they're kind of okay. Could be a guard, could be a center, could be a defensive end. I think they're still gonna go with a wide receiver, and they'll get Johnny Wilson, which is a really good selection. Well, high upside. He might be terrible, at least to start. It's now the Panthers' first pick. They might need to trade down just to get more picks. I'm seeing that they really need a cornerback, they need a running back, they need a wide receiver, they need a outside linebacker, they need a guard. They could use a center, they could they could use a defensive tackle, so they kind of need everything. I think we're going to go with cornerback for now. do need a lot of picks. I'm gonna go with Rakestraw. And that'll bring the Packers back up. What's up with their running backs? Oh yeah, that's right. They got Josh Jacobs, right? Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Outside linebacker. What did we have him take earlier? Could take Chop Robinson. They're a 3-4, so it doesn't really not make sense. I think they'll go with Ellis just because he fits their scheme. Steelers now on the clock. Wouldn't mind an inside linebacker here. A nose tackle would definitely be good. I think they're going nose tackle. Yeah, and it is a nose. I think they're gonna go with Mason Smith. It's hard not to get Chris Jenkins here. I think it is gonna be Chris Jenkins, even though, yeah. Okay, that brings up the Browns. The Browns need wide receiver, defensive tackle, middle linebacker, really a quarterback. Why is it not letting me make a selection? Alright, well I guess they're gonna be on auto draft. They took middle linebacker Jalen Ford. That's a decent selection. Yeah, I'm not upset with that one at all. They're a 4-3. That'll take care of their middle linebacker. I wonder if... No, we were able to use the Jets already, so I guess it's just the Browns that are bugged. Buccaneers could definitely use a running back. We're gonna go Trey Benson. Trey Benson is definitely the best running back in the class, it seems, especially with Brooks being hurt, coming off an ACL injury, and the other guy is just not as proven. So I'll bring up the Commanders. I think they're going to go with a cornerback. Oh, they still need another defensive end. They don't really like anybody, especially at this spot. They're a 4-3. They do have a decent group of defensive tackles already. Let's have a look at guard. I guess we're gonna go with Kingsley Sumiatea, I guess. Brings the Raiders back up. I should mention the second round and beyond is not correct to what the actual order is, because I didn't feel like trading and doing all the, having to fix the entire draft to be correct. I just adjusted the first round. So they're gonna need probably a defensive end or tackle. Oh well, they do have Chris Wilkins. Maybe an end would be better than. I think I'm gonna go with a wide receiver. Oh wait, what's the running back situation? It looks like I signed somebody in free agency for him. They're gonna gamble on. I don't really want to take Coleman here. I think Pearsall, but then they didn't even use Renfro when they had him. And although he's 2 inches taller, he's not really the same type of player. I don't know. I guess that's who they're going with. That'll ring up the Patriots. They could use a tight end. They have Hunter Henry, I think, but they need somebody behind him. Theo Johnson, Dallin Holker. Holker would be a great selection. I think I'm going to go with him. Falcons are back up. They need a nose tackle. They do not have a tackle. So that's going to be Mason Smith. I think I'm going to separate this like the NFL does and stop it after the second round. Cut that into a separate video after that. So the Colts are gonna, it looks like, I guess they could take a defensive end or guard, maybe a running back. Yeah, you know what? Running back would be interesting. Garanado, I've heard a lot of good things about from Louisville. Jonathan Brooks, because they can wait on him. I think that's probably the choice, is Jonathan Brooks, because they don't need him right away. That's a cool pick. Packers are up. They could use a center if there's a good one. Maybe a nose tackle. Maybe another receiver, because they've got 2 expiring and Bo Melton left. Yeah, I guess receiver makes sense, and they're going to take Keon Coleman. Or Troy Franklin. I guess they're going to go with Troy Franklin. And that'll bring up the Eagles. They need a safety, they need an outside linebacker. Safety, let's see. They've got some decent safeties already. Guess they're gonna go with Cameron Kitchens. Brings up the Jaguars. They are going to be looking at a cornerback again. Could be looking at a strong safety, I think. Also a defensive end. Their center is kind of bad. I don't think they really want to reach here for a center. Yeah, if they need a nickel, then Sane Ristril, however you say that guy's name, is supposed to be really good for that. So I'm going to go with him. Brings up the Dolphins. Let's see, did they get a tight end yet? I don't think. Oh yeah, they did. Now they need a nose tackle. They like Sweat. They're gonna get Dorless, so. I guess they're not afraid of controversy. They could get Sweat. Sweat's huge. He's 6'4". He moves really fast. Could be decent. Brings up the Lions. Yeah, that's definitely a reach, though, because I've heard Sweat's more like a 4th round grade for most GMs because of his class clown and I don't know, his personality issues, but I don't really buy into that stuff as much as they seem to. That's the Lions pick. Let's see. What do the Lions need? Looks like they're pretty good for most of their... What's their running back situation looking like? They've got, let's see, 2 good starters, and then I don't know if they have anybody behind them. Oh, Jamar Jefferson. Yeah, I'm thinking it would be a reach to get a running back here. They need a guard, it looks like. They have some decent options at guard. Yeah, I don't mind getting a guard here. Although it's actually looking like, hold on, their cornerback situation's not that great. They've got Gardner Johnson, Sutton, Mosley. Okay, but then... Okay, so they're okay at secondary, in the secondary. I guess that's a good problem to have. I'm gonna go look at their tackles again, because I feel like I signed somebody, but I'm not sure if it was a good enough signing. So it's got Decker, they've got a backup. Oh, yeah, okay. He's on an expiring contract, though, Decker is. Yeah, I'm gonna get a tackle and then move him to guard if I need to. Latham or Mims. Going with Latham. He's huge, he's fast. Only problem is he's on the right side. I'd rather him be on the left. It's going to bring up the Chargers finally. And they're just going to take whoever the best Michigan player is. Which I guess is Blake Corum, because Chris Jenkins is gone. Literally going down until I see Michigan. Oh, Cornelius Johnson. Yeah, let me just make sure they don't need a wide receiver. Because they're probably not getting jumped on Corum anyways. Yeah, they do kind of need a wide receiver. And they also need a tight end. They also need defensive end, nose tackle, cornerback, inside linebacker, tackle. Well, what's tackle looking like? Left tackle is Morgan and Rosengartner, or Mims. Or they go Cornelius Johnson, or they go with Blake Corum. I thought there was another Michigan guy somewhere along here. Oh, Braden McGregor. They're saying he's a day 3 guy. Jalen Harrell. And we just took Sandstrill, or whatever his name is, off the board. Yeah, I guess that leaves it to, do we want the wide receiver or the running back? And I think they're going Blake Corum here. Seems like a waste of a pick, but I bet they do it. I mean, he's a good running back, but it's the second round and they've got other needs. Chiefs. And they're going to need an outside linebacker. So it's probably going to be Chop Robinson. They like Trevin Wallace better. They are 4-3. Oh, what the hey. Yeah, we'll go with him. Brings the Cards back up, and they still need a nose tackle, or actually defensive tackle. Those look like they could use a guard. I think they're going to go with Mims here, and then move him to right guard. Eagles are going to want maybe Chop Robinson. They are a 4-3, so never mind. I guess not. Maybe this is a trade down. Let's see where the Chargers are. So it'd be 88 from so 59, 310, 88, 150. So I think we're gonna combine that with fourth. Yeah, 123. That should be good. Now it's the Chargers selection, and they're going to take Cornelius Johnson. If there's not another Michigan guy available. He actually was a star. And that'll bring up the Bengals. I think it's Jeremiah Trotter time. brings up the Bills with the 29th selection in the second round, and they are gonna go with. Oh well, they did get rid of. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. Hold on, let me do that right now. Let's trade Diggs out of here. Oh, I guess I already did that. Okay, but they need a wide receiver, so it's gonna be Keon Johnson because they need a jump ball receiver too. Or Keon Coleman, that is. Yeah, I think so. Still have Lad McCaffrey out there. It's gonna be Keon Coleman though. Pick is the 49ers. And they want cornerback. I think they're going Kalen King. Brings up the Titans. Who kept Vrabel? They need a guard or a center. I'm gonna go with this guy because it fits their scheme. Should be the last pick of this video. 32nd pick in the second round to end day one. Or actually, don't they end day one after the first round and then do day two is the second and third round, and then I don't know. Well, in any case, this video is gonna end after the first one or the first two rounds. So Tennessee is gonna need a center. I guess they're gonna go with Zach Frazier. And that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching.